It's 7:19 on this Moon Monday, cloudy day, fall day. Is beautiful. I'm just chatting, and maybe this will be heard by the masses. Maybe it's just for me. I don't know. But I'm getting such crazy downloads right now. I'm sitting in this car, and it started with an experience that I had over this weekend. I can't believe I'm about to talk about this, but it's for the greater good. And how understanding your ego and what is ego, right? Because we learn your ego is like, don't let your ego get inflated, or like thinking of yourself more highly than you ought to, in a sense. And yeah, but no. And it's important for us to be able to identify our ego, the ego within ourselves. By ego, you can say your flesh, spiritually talking. And understanding, that your ego, man, will cause you to see things that's not there. Because the circumstances could be familiar, if that makes sense. And it's like, oh, I've seen this before. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't that. So your ego is the part of you that is formed and fed by patterns and what's familiar. A layer of protection that kept you safe in certain situations. Growing up, things you were exposed to, or it's what formed your way of thinking, your way of being, things you were exposed to, going to school, and like what's been taught to you there, what you see at home, just the things in your environment. It's like what kept you safe in during those patterns. And patterns could be your mom, or or your dad dated an unhealthy amount of women or men, so you've seen constant movement in your house because of the lifestyle that your parents lived. And from that has shaped, if you're a young boy, that has shaped your way of thinking towards women, towards what being a man looks like. And girls, it just depends on the parent. So as you get older, because that's what you see every day, that's how you think the male species is, or the woman species, depending on your experience. And just the things that people tell kids, or like if you're a young boy, your grandpa tell you, don't ever give women your money. All they want you for is your money. And that's what you're taught. That's what you absorb as a kid. And then you meet someone later on in life that genuinely could use your help. And it's somebody that you are cool with. It could be a family member. It could be a good friend. I'm feeling like good friend. And they genuinely need assistance, and you have the means to assist them, But you can hear your grandpop's voice like, don't ever give no woman your money. That's all they're around for. It'll cause you to forget the friendship that you have and all the evidence that you have that this is a good person. But because of what your grandfather said, you won't help. When in the spirit realm, God is giving you opportunity to heal that. But if you're looking through if you're experiencing that experience in your body / ego, you will see it as how your grandfather shaped you to see it. But if you're conscious and you know that you're in your body, and this probably is jumping all around because I started writing stuff down, but now it's like flowing, okay. Yeah. So and some people, okay, so the part of you that is, okay, I read all that. So your ego is like a type of defender on earth. Like when I say on earth, like using your flesh, your ego, if you're in your flesh, your ego is like your defender. So in that scenario, your ego was telling you, nah, man, we don't get no money to no women. Like that's, no. And you may connect it to your grandfather, you may not. It's so subconscious, you know what I'm saying? Like, my bad, y'all. I know I'm sniffling a lot, but it is what it is. Nah, got the sniffles. So anyway, yeah. So the ego is driven, but in the spirit realm, God is giving you opportunities to heal that and overcome that. But you have to be aware that you are a body having a human, I mean, you are a soul having a human experience. And this is something that was just so profound and so simple at the same time. We are named when we are born. We're given a name. The same way God gave Adam charge over naming all the animals. So it's just like me, Terry, this name tree. Me named Terry, this name cup. Like, right? Deep. So, and connected to this name is a purpose. It is, I wrote down, when you're born, you're birthed into your body because we already exist as souls and spirits. Follow me. When you're born, you're birthed into your body. You become what's attached to that name that's been given to you. Because that name, someone put that name, that personality, that story on you by giving you the name that you have. Just like when you think of a bird, you think of flying, wings, It's just that a bird is a bird. A bird don't have to be a bird. This is so deep. A bird don't have to be a bird. Like a bird is just a bird. And you are just being the name that's given to you. When people think of Terry or situations, it brings them, it does the same thing, if you're following what I'm saying. There are familiarities that come with names. And that's why you can look in and that's why you can look up names and find the meaning. Yo, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. Yo, this is crazy. Is it in the tea? Anyway, the sun is coming out over the clouds. This is deep. So, in the spirit realm, your body that is given to you is too dense in the spirit realm. So, there at a point in time, your body has to die off because either you completed your soul's journey. There's still a lot to be determined. But what I wrote was when or if your soul's journey was fulfilled. And that's crazy that I just said bird. Yo, this is crazy. Because I wrote down. Now, when I'm saying that, when I said all that just now, I'm looking out at the water. I'm at the river. I'm looking out at the water. But I told you I jotted some things out. So something that I jotted down before. When I'm writing this down, life, the word life, L-I-F-E, over life, L-I-F-E. On both realms, as above, so below, there's life on both sides. They just have different purposes. And when I wrote that down, the crows started squawking. So I wrote down crows. Yo. Which are birds. And that's what I wrote down, crows. That I felt like, because I can't tell the difference between a crow and a raven. So then I just wrote birds. And they started like chirping and stuff real loud. And that is your light body. That could be L-I-G-H-T or L-I-T-E. But it's like unweighted body. Over life on earth, which is more dense and heavy. And then I wrote in parentheses, and so are the things taught to you. They keep you heavy. Yo, I'm chuckling because I'm getting this right with y'all, like at the same time. So I'm still trying to process. And I feel like that's why I started recording, because it was like a lot of information. And it all started with what I experienced over the weekend. And how you just got to be able to see the pattern in your life. You have to just be aware that you exist in patterns, even though the faces may change in those patterns, years may be in between or whatever, but we all exist in patterns. And patterns, like, they could be jump started by traumatic experiences. You know what I'm saying? They could be jump started by a moment that felt like bliss. And that will start like how you see the rest of the world based on these experiences, so your ego is like stamping these things and don't want you to experience these things. So that's where you have like fight, flight, freeze, all that stuff they add and stuff on, which is cool, whatever. But things are being added on. These moments are stamped. So I could still be going through a cycle based on something I experienced when I was 5 or 6. And because that caused me to live in my body and the experiences and all that the body experienced, you could be a certain age, but you really are stuck in that cycle at 5 or 6. At 5 or 6. But don't realize it. Or you could definitely pinpoint, this is why I am the way I am with money, because this is what I saw growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could very well be able to pinpoint it. But at the end of the day, God's desire is to raise you higher than that. And if you're only just just living the robotic life of your body and what has been pre-programmed for you based on your life's experiences, and you don't realize that opportunities are coming to you to shed off of you, to allow your body to become lighter, to allow you to not live in the dense emotions. Like, there's a chart. That sun started shining brighter. There's a chart that shows you like the vibrations that each emotion brings, from, like, I don't know if sadness is the lowest emotion, so to speak. But when you're living based on the world system, you're going to be in those lower vibrations. If you're just watching the news all the time, that is meant to keep you in lower vibrations. Fear, panic, entitlement, But if you choose the things that you ingest, like food for your body, that's food that feeds. You know what I'm saying? This is really good. And it's just a spirit. It's just knowing that there's a spirit realm. There is the earthly realm, the physical. And the world teaches you what success is in the physical. So that's what everybody is on that. Not everybody. They intend for the masses to be on a certain pattern. They instill fear, them bills, the things that'll be chasing you down. They will do just that, chase you down, unless you stay above that and keep working. And now you're exhausted. When you're exhausted, you're not a nice person. And that's just how such and such is, when really it's just because you're working too much. I don't know if that's stepping on somebody's toes, but you working too much and you playing God in your own life versus trusting that God has a plan for you. I should have got some water. Trusting that God has a plan for you. And maybe you work too much because that's what you saw in your mom. You see what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's what you do, and that's been instilled in you, to work. Ain't nobody gonna give you. Don't let nobody, or don't trust nobody to take care of you. You got to get it yourself. Ooh, I heard your mom's voice say that. Head shaking, like, no, get it out the mud. And it's like, God's like, no, that's not my desire for you. But the fear that it ensues in you, is that the right way to say it? At the thought of not working, my mouth is dry, not working 12, 16 hours a day for 5 days a week because you got to work this much to maintain a lifestyle that you enjoy. That's the only way you're going to do it, is if you work. But you're not sleeping well, you're eating in a way that's not healthy for your body, because you're just grabbing something to go to work, grabbing something to when you get off work, typically fast food, and that's what patterns will do. They, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is really deep. So even though you've already seen things or had conversations with people, or just different channels telling you the same type of message, and it's like, God is talking to your heart, but I don't know if I could do that. But that's what God is requiring of you. And I'm not saying not work at all. I'm not saying that at all, because you can really love what you do. And I don't know if there's opportunities that come along in the area or in the field that you like. So you take all the opportunities, which is great. Excuse me, but it's like overkill. Like, leave some for other people. You need to have time for yourself. And whatever that looks like, learn how to sit down sometime. Because if you're constantly in motion, you can't think clearly. I'm not going to, no. Keyword is constantly. When you're constantly in motion. Just like this water that I'm looking at, and there's ripples in the water, and the water is flowing. That's what it does. Like, you don't give time for that's what it does to you, mentally. Causes ripples. And sometimes you should always make time for yourself to just do nothing. And if you feel like, oh, I'm not the type, I can't just do nothing, cycle, pattern. You keep telling yourself that, you're lying to yourself. Okay? Like, that is a system that has been set up. And I'm speaking as a person who thought that way. And a transformation that has happened for me out of that mindset is living in another state. And I'm sure as these birds are flying by, God moved me to another state, away from my family, away from my support, away from the cluster of like-mindedness, relocated me to another state for a job, to lose the job through it. I don't even like saying lose, for the job to not be a part of the plan 3 months into living there. No income, no just faith and determination. Okay? So, and to this day, when it comes to money, sometimes I still have like heart palpitations, but I also have to speak what I know, that money flows, it's a constant flow. So don't get caught up in what I have right now, like this is going to be it, because I already know, and I've already seen time and time again that it ain't. That money is being printed every day. So, yes, understanding your ego, gotta bring it back. Because all that has to do with it. All of that is a part of your ego. Even though I don't remember any of it, but what I have written down. Anyway, that's what it's like, living in your ego, living in a dense life. When your soul has a purpose, God has a plan for you as well. And some people come to are chosen to be conscious. Sometimes people think to be conscious has an aesthetic. So they can dress the part, the boho pants and tattoos, whatever. But are they really doing the work, the inner work? So it's just understanding that um I think that's it. And that is where ego death comes from. I don't feel like ego death is the, and I know people like ego death. Ooh. And that just means to me, and please let me, give me your interpretation of it. It's like when you are able to put your ego under submission. Not necessarily because your ego is the essence of who your body is. Is that right? You and your ego a intimate understanding. I know that might sound crazy, but it's like your ego is there with you in the times that mean the most to you. Whether the most to you because of when you got hurt, it means the most to you because that was a time when you had the most money in your life. For whatever reason, that a situation is important to you. And God wants you to rise above your ego because your ego is connected to the density. And that can only come through circumstances. That can only come through that developing part. Can only come through your faith. Can only be. Let's talk. Yo, I thought I just seen a person walking. I am tripping. Anyway, like your faith needs the opportunity to serve its purpose and be faith. Because it's easy to have faith with a full pocket of money, or a good set of legs laying next to you every night, or whatever your heart's desire. It's easy to say that you have faith at times when things are quote unquote working out for you. But do you change your tune as soon as it starts getting uncomfortable? This is all over the place. Whoa. It's 7:48 a.m. Oh, it's only 28 minutes. Wow. Yeah, faith needs space to work. We can't allow fear to keep us on the cycles. And it's like, oh, well, it's better to have a man than no man at all. And you're saying that because you depend on him for money, even though he cheating or he's abusive or whatever, and you have given your being over to him. Can I say that? What? You have given him the control because he financially supports you. And it would just be wise if you either start putting some money aside. This is wild. And prepare and be prepared, because the opportunity will present itself as this white van is going by. The opportunity will present itself. And will you be ready? Or will you allow fear to tell you that what are you going to do out there by yourself? You've come accustomed to, I don't know, your house must be fancy, nice, fancy and nice. And is that a lady inside? Wow. That's deep. Yeah. Don't let your ego hold you back. Don't let what you feel you deserve keep you from God's purpose. Because you may go through a time of being uncomfortable or not having the things that you're accustomed to. It might be a period of that. But having everything you need and want clearly is coming at a cost. And do you want to keep paying that fee? Yikes. So this was all over the place. And but in there is something for you, because you're here and I'm here. I started off listening to Pastor Mike, and then this all took place. So maybe check out Pastor Mike of Rock City in Birmingham, Alabama. The service from this past Sunday, and he's talking about bitterness. You know, it's been great. 7:52. I can't wait to listen back to this, but do I just post it this way? Do I post it?